New World is a game that is close to my heart and many players find it enjoyable. But let's not be fooled. The game is far from perfect. It has many flaws and imperfections. With that note, I propose changes or fixes to the following systems: crafting, PvE content, PvP content, and reward system. All of these proposed changes will give it either a necessary change to improve the game or give it more meaning to play. But before we dive deep into these changes, I have to state that I don't want to criticize the developers, but hopefully give them some meaningful feedback and some ideas on how to move forward. Now, sit back, relax, and let's dive in. Hello everyone, Sayphex here. The first system I would focus on is my favorite. Crafting is enjoyable and relaxing. However, it has one big flaw. It is that it makes economy of New World very unreliable and non-sustainable. The fact is, the best way to get gear is by doing the same raid over and over again until you get bored or quit. Crafting should have been one of the main ways of getting gear. At the beginning of the game, 3 years ago, players would craft thousands of armors and weapons and hopefully get the jewel among the rubbish. But even this scrap would fuel the economy as everyone would want to buy the materials and craft their dream build. But now, or since Gypsum Kill Edition, crafting became a shallow form of itself, and its purpose is only to fuel the market with upgrading materials such as matrices, consumables, and trophies. The change I propose is that you should be able to craft items with gear score of 725. For example, mithril armor or weapons would be able to scale all the way up to 725 instead of unsatisfying 700 gear score. But to get there, you should be able to use all the buffs at hand, from gear, food, trophies, and even more with weapon or armor matrix, and maybe even the special items such as scarabs back in the day, if developers don't want to just straight up buff it to max gear score. With this, players would be able to rally and gather these unique items or materials from various different activities such as PvE or PvP. I'll get over these two content types in a bit, but just imagine the value this will bring to the table. This would give the players the purpose not only farm materials for an economic purpose, it would make crafting a core pillar of this game as it should have been from beginning. With the crafting system expanded, now we can focus on the first content type, PvE. In New World, we already have plenty of such content. However, the sad truth is that most of it is redundant, as only the new and the shiny raid is a valid form of gear collection, as it seems this is the main focus or reward people aim to get, instead of actually going for an achievements and some visible rewards that we'll get into in a bit. My proposal for PvE content is simple. Make new mutation level, M4. This would be a much more difficult variant, being able to be beaten by players with high gear score. For example, let's say 695, almost 700. However, it would be able to reward them with gear score with items with gear score of 725. Not only this will give them a chance to get a special item that you'll be able to craft with, as mentioned before, but also will give them a valid way of getting this max gear score items. On top of that, just make all of the mutations playable at all times, as this process of waiting for the right expedition to become mutated is just tedious and very unfriendly to a casual player, as they have to make time in their busy life to be able to get the artifact they're looking for months. And when it comes in rotation, they might not be able to have time in the week and they will miss it for the next few months until it comes back in rotation. I can tell you this mechanic is not fun nor friendly to normal player. With these two changes for PvE content, not only you will make the most of the content you already have, making it much more valid, but you will also give players more flexibility as they will try to collect all of the artifacts, try them out on their own, and you will give them time to play as they would like with how much they have on their hands. With now PvE content covered, we can move to my fellow PvPers. The good news is that AGS has announced that they will release a new OPR map that is coming in the following patch. However, this change alone will not change the fact that the PvE content needs even more changes or improvements. The main recent feature was in the major update was FFA Island, which has made many players happy, but many players sad as well, as it has more holes than Swiss cheese. My major problem is that it does not have enough incentive to even go there. I mean, sure, you can PvP other players as you see fit, but that's all. That's it. You can already get more doubloons from CK Chestron anyway, so without any risk at all. So what I propose is the following addition to FFA Island. World bosses. Many named enemies in New World already drop good loot, however none of them are in FFA Island. What I would do is that I would place a few, like 5 or 10 bosses around this island and make them challenging and very rewarding. They would drop so-called cursed loot, such as cursed armor, cursed weapons, and cursed jewelry. This cursed gear would be guaranteed 725, but with the risk of being dropped on death, like the other cursed loot. Many players will try to bend around and take down these bosses. Meanwhile, they will have to fight other players. But because this is an FFA island, they could betray each other trying to get this good loot, and the best player will be on top. This would create an environment that would make an incentive to go to FFA Island trying to get this best loot possible, making this whole area high risk but high reward at the same time. The changes to these free systems are a new and revamped way of getting good loot. On top of that, I would create a purpose for doing the content in general. However, there could be much more to it. In my opinion, farming gear should not be your endgame goal. The gear should be the tool to do the content. If you do the content well, you should be able to be rewarded with unique loot and some visible achievements. So players would be able to complete so-called, let's say, challenges within the content they're doing it. These challenges would be able to give people cool skins, some trophies to show around their house, special titles, and much more notable loot that they would be able to show off to other players. ESO has same system and it's working wonders for them. Let's make few examples for PvE content first. Expeditions could have a free simple challenges. First could be speedrun, completing an M4 expedition, the highest ranking one, under a certain time. Second achievement for M4 could be without any death. And some other achievement, for example, have a high enough score to be able to get another challenge completed. If a group or a certain player would complete all of these free challenges per expedition, they would be able to get a cool skin or a very cool item that is just beyond a simple loot. This would allow other players to show that they're real deal, that he or she will be able to collect such items not only for collection's sake, but also for this in-game achievement and feeling of accomplishment. In PvP challenges, this should also be the case. For example, if you make I don't know, 20 kills in a single OPR match, you would complete the challenge. These challenges should be fun. Or make win 5 arenas in a row, or something harder than that. The options for challenges in PvP are endless. But remember, they should be challenging enough for you to work a touch hard for it and have a sense of satisfaction in terms of notable and visible rewards when completed. You know, it should be worth it doing these challenges. Leaderboards should also be a big part of this system. Newer already has some sort of a leaderboard, but you could expand it as much as possible. Give it many different categories. For example, if you're top 3 in OPR and in like a week, top 10 players would be able to get a reward, like, I don't know, a golden crown or something. Or even like speedruns for expeditions and raids would be much more visible to other players and much more rewarding instead of only showing it off on YouTube. Or even support players would be able to get some rewards like healers and tanks and much more. The options for rewards are endless, and they could also be expanded to trading or even housing, for example. The options are endless, just make them meaningful. An MMO should not be a grind fest where you farm your gear and call it a day. An MMO is where you show off your skill in many different ways, from trade skills to the fastest raid clear to the most skills in OPR, or just being a casual player trying to hunt for these achievements and collectibles. With all that said, now I'm interested in what you think that you should do to improve New World and make it better. If you have enjoyed this video, then give it a like and subscribe for more content. Now have a great day and goodbye.